1,
2,
3,
4.
Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster.
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Oh, welcome to the show, everyone. I am your host, Honey Bee.
And I am your other host, Precious D. This week, we are taking a look at the War of the Gargantuas.
Yeah.
Or in Japanese, Frankenstein no Kaiju Sanda Tai Gaira. Frankenstein's monsters, Sanda versus Gaira.
Wow.
Gaira? Oof.
This movie is fucking weird.
Yeah, it's from 1966. It is sort of kind of a sequel to Frankenstein Conquers the World,
Question mark?
but not exactly. It is a sequel with huge continuity issues, I guess you could
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
It has some ideas from Frankenstein Conquers the World attached to it, but they didn't really closely adhere to what had happened before or have any of the same actors
Yeah.
or technically the same characters. It's directed by Ishiro Honda.
Shout out.
It has music by Akira Ifukube, and this is one of those America-Japanese co-productions that they did
Mm-hmm.
with Henry G. Saperstein and UPA, which gave us the previous Frankenstein movie, and I think it gave us Ibera. Anyway, this is either the last or next to last time that we have Saperstein's input, and that is fine with me.
Saperstein.
The movie stars Russ Tamblyn as Dr. Paul Stewart, being dubbed over by Garo Matsumi. Kumi Mizuno as Dr. Akemi Togawa, but I don't think they properly address her as doctor through most of it. They don't treat her like she's a doctor, so that's annoying. Kenji Sahara as Dr. Yuzo Majida. Nobu Nakamuro as Dr. Kita. A lot of doctors in this movie.
Doctor.
Captain, doctor. June. Me doctor. No, me doctor. You nurse. Jun Tazaki as the army commander. Isaya Ito as police chief Izumida. Kip Hamilton
Oh.
as a club singer, and we will deal with Kip in a moment.
Yeah, I cannot wait to hear how you feel about that.
Yusakita as Sanda, and Haruno Nakajima as Gaira.
Shout out.
Haru Nakajima there plays Godzilla most of the time. Played Godzilla in 12 consecutive films. Yes, it does say here, third and final co-production in between Toho and Henry G. Saperstein.
Later, G. Henry G.
Oof.
Love ya, mean it.
So they replaced, what's his name? The other white guy.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. It was Steve Martin.
No, that's
That's the only name I could think of.
that's the character from the American Godzilla. Let me Judas Priest.
It's like trying to think of another guy's name. I just saw that guy and just laughed. Steve Martin.
Gosh, it was originally going to be Tab Hunter, or they submitted it to Tab Hunter, and he Nick Adams. That's it. They decided to replace Nick Adams. Tried to get Tab Hunter and couldn't, so they got this Tamblyn guy, Russ Tamblyn. I did not care for, and everything I've read said that Nick Adams. Yeah, no, he was a douche. Everything I read about Nick Adams in the two movies that he did for Toho. Nick's seemed to have a lot of issues and his life was kind of a mess, but he took these movies seriously and he was a professional and he was always there on time and he did his work and he tried to learn some Japanese and, he was a professional. And apparently Russ Tamblyn was not. He was just kind of a dick. Did not learn or improvised his lines, which to me means he didn't learn them probably, is why he was improvising lines. Wasn't following directions, was just a big pain in the ass to work with. Whereas everybody said that Nick Adams was a delight to work with and was very professional. And so I don't know why they replaced him, especially when it's supposed to... It is the same character and it's not the same character. They changed the characters' names, but they're still fulfilling the same roles that they did in the other movie. And they refer to them having raised this Frankenstein like they kind of sort of did.
And even when they do the flashback, they do like a little flashback moment. It's like, what?
Yeah, because the flashback is not... Well, this Frankenstein is much hairier than the other one.
Which, like,
they're
I'm
like
bored, baby. I like it.
Sasquatches. Really?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, I did not care for the look. But also it's just inconsistent with the look from the previous movie, so I'm not sure.
Well, remember as he got older, he got hairier?
He did, so maybe that's the idea. No, but in the flashback, but in this one, he's been hairy since he was small.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're totally right. Yeah, because he's like a little, like... Oh, God, and that costume was fucking terrifying. The, like, little baby Frankie, when they go to that flashback, ooh, hell no. That's going to give me nightmares. Like, I was like, oh, God, no.
So, Wikipedia is telling me that since its release, the film has been regarded as a cult classic, drawing admiration from artists such as Brad Pitt, Quentin Tarantino, Guillermo del Toro, and Tim Burton. And I do not understand why.
What?
Maybe none of those guys saw as many of these movies as we have. But it seems like, to me, if you had seen a bunch of these others like we've been watching, that this would not have stood out as the one that made a big impact on you.
Yeah, that is strange. That is really strange.
Yeah.
There are some things in this movie that are really cool. Like, as far as visually, like how they did, like, the planes were like big toys this time. And like the boat was like super big. So it was like, it kind of made them look better. It made them look like, instead of like a little tiny toy boat and them like, throwing a little tiny toy boat, it was like a big fucking boat, like the size of them, that they were like tearing up. So that was cool.
Oh gosh, it says here that Brad Pitt has cited The War of the Gargantuas as the film that inspired him to pursue acting.
What?
Because he saw it and said, well, I could do better than that. I don't know. And it inspired parts of Tarantino's Kill Bill Volume 2, such as the miniature shot of Tokyo made specifically for the film and the fight scene between Uma Thurman and Daryl Hannah, which Tarantino dubbed the War of the Blonde Gargantuas.
What?
They are both tall women. Yeah, I don't know. Tarantino had screened the film for Hannah, and Hannah's character uses the word gargantuan several times. Now, my first experience with this film is the next thing mentioned here under Legacy, that there is an episode of Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated called Battle of the Humongonauts that has two hairy creatures fighting. But in that episode, the song that we will get to is performed. And it sounds to me like maybe the actual recording from this movie. If not, then they reproduced it almost exactly. I think it's the same recording. But somebody in a little tiki bar in this Scooby-Doo episode performs the song.
Oh man, that's funny.
And I was like, what is this song? And I think maybe I looked it up and that's what led me.
I just wrote something like, why do I know this song? Or where have I heard this before? Or something like that.
Did you see it on Scooby-Doo?
I don't know.
Did you watch Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated?
I have no idea. Okay, I said this song. I can't tell what this song reminds me of, but I've heard this shit before. And then I wrote, can't wait to hear what you think of this song.
Yeah. So, all right, we will get to it. We will get to it. During a rainy night, here we go. Here we go with the plot of the film. From Wikipedia. Thank you, Wikipedia. During a rainy night, a fishing boat is attacked by a giant octopus. Now, you may recall, Honeybee, that supposedly there was an alternate ending of Frankenstein Conquers the World, in which he fights a giant octopus. So now we've come back to that idea. A fishing boat is attacked by a giant octopus. The giant octopus is then attacked by a giant green-haired humanoid monster. After defeating the giant octopus, the green monster then attacks the boat. The guys on this boat must have been like just so up and down emotionally. Oh no, we're being attacked by a giant octopus. Oh, thank goodness, the giant monster's fighting the octopus. Oh no, he's going to attack us too. A survivor is recovered who reveals to doctors and police that Frankenstein attacked his boat and ate the crew.
No,
the press picks up the
Frankie, don't eat people.
Yeah. The press picks up the story and interviews Dr. Paul Stewart and his assistant, Dr. Akemi Togawa, who once had a baby Frankenstein in their possession, like you do, for a study 5 years prior. Stewart and Akemi dispel the idea that the attack was caused by their Frankenstein, postulating that their Frankenstein was gentle, would not attack or eat people, nor would he live in the ocean.
Live in water, yeah.
Yeah, as he was found in the mountains and likely died after he escaped. So this is how it's sort of connecting to the other movie, because two doctors kind of raised Frankenstein in the other movie, and they saw him die on a mountain. But these doctors have different names, and they're played by different actors, and the Frankenstein looks totally different.
Yeah.
Another boat is attacked, and villagers see the green Frankenstein off the coast at the same time that a mountain guide reports seeing Frankenstein in the Japanese Alps. Stewart and Akemi investigate the mountains and find giant footprints in the snow. Did they skip the song in this?
I don't think it's happened yet, has it already? I don't know.
Their colleague, Dr. Majida, collects tissue samples from the second boat. The green Frankenstein attacks Haneda Airport. Here it is, yes. Eats a woman and returns to the sea after the clouds clear.
Eats a woman.
We have this scene. There's some kind of it's at the airport, but I guess there's kind of a lounge at the airport with a floor show where a white woman sings an English song. And maybe this is Saperstein's contribution.
Yeah.
Look, you want to appeal to an international audience, you got to have a white lady singing a song in English.
You need a blonde.
She sings the most off-key, bizarre song.
She doesn't even sing half of it. She yells half of
it. Yeah. The song is called "The Words Get Stuck in My Throat."
I wish they did.
And the lyrics are a little humorous. The thing is, I totally want to cover this song. We
have to. We
have to do an album of some of the songs from these movies, and this is one of the ones.
This is definitely one of them. We'll do the Mothra song. What's his face song with his little sister that couldn't walk. What was his name?
Chase. Mushroom, the Happy Mushroom song.
Chase, yeah. Happy Mushroom song, and this one for sure.
Lips could only say the pretty words that I feel in my heart. If my voice could make the sound, I would tell you how I love you and we'd never be apart. But with just one look into your face, my mind starts to drift right into space, and the words get stuck in my throat. The words
Also, I love when he drops the lady and her little Barbie ass, like just like falling to the ground. So funny.
But yeah, then he like bites her head off, or her bites her in half, or yeah, he drops her first, right?
Yeah.
And then picks her up and eats her.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody sees her laying there on the ground and they're like, oh my gosh. And then he picks her up and eats her. Here's the lyrics. If I had a tiny microphone hidden in my heart, it would amplify my love for you. But the words get stuck in my throat. The words get stuck in my throat. If I had a little Viewmaster stuck inside my brain, it would snap the pictures all of you. But the words get stuck in my throat. That is not how Viewmasters work. They don't take pictures. If I had a telegraph tapping in my brain, it would tap the Morse code, I love you. But the words get stuck in my throat. The words get stuck in my throat. Hey, 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 what I say every day. The words get stuck in my throat. Repeating until it fades out. Her supposedly live performance ends with a fade out. Nobody ends a live performance with a fade out. You only do that on a record.
Voices.
I feel though that the song would be so much better if it were just sung on key.
Oh gosh, I'm not gonna lie, I love this part. It was hysterical. I was laughing so hard. I couldn't wait to hear how you felt about this song because I was like, oh, we're gonna have to sing this song.
I mean, it's terrible, but it's one of these things that's just both awesome and horrible at the same time.
I love it. Also, we do have right before this moment, just to take us back for a second, we do have a Kong window moment where the Gargantuan looks through the window and sees the lady and grabs her through the window. So, yeah.
Yep.
So then, pew, 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 pew.
Yes. Stuart and Akemi leave for Tokyo for a meeting with the military to discuss plans to kill the monster. Majida deduces that the Green Frankenstein is sensitive to light. The Green Frankenstein briefly appears in Tokyo but is driven away by bright lights. It retreats to the mountains where the military counterattacks it. Then, a second Frankenstein, brown-haired in appearance, appears and comes to the Green Frankenstein's aid, helping it escape.
I was like, oh, is this his daddy?
It's sort of his brother.
Yeah, it's his brother. We find out later.
His tissue donor.
We have a moment here where he swats at planes. We have another Kong moment where he's like swats the plane.
Stuart and Akemi conclude that the brown Frankenstein is their former subject. To distinguish the monsters, the military designate the brown and green Frankenstein as Sanda and Gyra, respectively. After collecting and examining tissue samples from both monsters, Stuart concludes that Gyra is Sanda's clone. So we appear to have a Reptilicus situation here, where these cells are holographic in that any one individual cell contains everything needed to grow an entire new individual. Go ahead.
But do you remember when they were on, I think they're on the plane or something, I'm not sure, but and they're talking about like whether or not it's their Frankenstein or it's another Frankenstein or whatever, and they're like, well, he says something like, well, what if he fell in love with, and he's like, oh, well, there's an idea. Maybe was just talking about him multiplying from himself?
Yeah. Well, that's the next thing I have here. He theorizes that a piece of Sanda's tissue made its way out to sea, where it survived off plankton and evolved into Gyra.
Okay.
I missed that. During a hiking trip.
A very happy.
Yeah. Stuart, Akemi, and several hikers run away from Gyra. So they're hiking, and there's a bunch of other people hiking with them. And there is one doofus in a sort of straw boater hat with a girlfriend who is way out of his league.
Aww.
Just thought I'd point that out.
Damn.
So good for him. And this is exactly the sort of experience that will bond them closely together. Remember that time we got chased by a monster? That's the day I knew I loved you. Akemi falls off a ledge, but Sanda saves her in time, injuring his leg in the process.
Yeah, and then she's like, hey, he remembers me. And I'm like, I don't think so. Did you think he remembered her? I didn't see any indication that he remembered her.
I assumed he was supposed to, yeah.
I was like,
that's just how
it just didn't seem like it. Like he was just like, here you go, lady, dirt, dirt, dirt. Here I go back into the shit to do the shit. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like if he remembered her, he would have been like, roar, grunt, rat, or something, you know? I don't know. It was weird.
One thing that is a little unclear to me is, did Sanda actually die in the mountain and then a piece of him grew into a new one? Or did he just never die and they were just mistaken about that? I don't know. But anyway, he saves her and injures his leg. Stuart and Akeme try to convince the military that only Gyra should be killed, while Sanda should be spared. But the army ignores their pleas, unwilling to risk letting either monster live. After discovering that Gyra devoured people, Sanda attacks him. Gyra is laying there sleeping, and Sanda comes along, doop 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 doop, and he sees some torn cloth, some pieces of somebody's clothes, and like, I don't know, blood on his lips or something, or people crumbs on his chest, or something that indicates to him, oh my God, he eats people. So yeah, he attacks him by uprooting a tree. And does he just start hitting him with it?
Yeah, he just starts
like
whacking him.
Yeah. Gyra escapes with Sanda pursuing and heads towards Tokyo, no longer deterred by the city lights, as they now alert him to the presence of food. I'm not sure that was made clear in the film itself, but they do say, oh, he's attracted by lights instead, because that's how this seems to work in a lot of these movies. That one minute they're repelled by lights, and another minute they're attracted by them. During the evacuation, Akemi vows to save Sanda, but runs into Gyra instead. Sanda stops Gyra from devouring Akemi, and Stuart carries her to safety. Sanda tries to plead with Gyra, but they don't speak, so that's not what it says. But what do you mean pleads with him? But the green monster engages Sanda in battle. Stuart tries to convince the military to give Sanda time to defeat Gyra, but fails. However, the military aids Sanda as he battles with Gyra, moves from Tokyo to Tokyo Bay and further out to sea. As the military drops bombs around the battling Frankensteins, an underwater volcano suddenly erupts, swallowing up both monsters. Majida informs Stuart and Akemi that the monsters' deaths could not be confirmed due to the intense heat, but stresses that nothing could have survived the eruption. Was Majida also a little obsessed with doing sciencey shit?
Oh,
do you remember?
I don't know.
Because in the first one there was, 3 doctors.
Yeah.
And one of them was just obsessed with, well, we can't destroy it. We got to do science on it. We got to do experiments. I got to keep this thing alive to do experiments, no matter how much damage it's doing. And I had a vague idea that Majida did a little bit of the same shit, but now I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
But it wasn't Kenji Sahara in the last movie either.
This movie was so weird. I was like so confused. Like I didn't understand like that the guy all of a sudden was like beating him with a tree. Like I didn't understand what happened there.
I didn't at first either, and then I rewound it and saw that, oh, he sees that he's eaten somebody. Because, yeah, I was pretty confused at one point. I'm like, well, but he just helped him a minute ago. Why is he attacking him now?
Exactly.
And it's because he sees the torn clothes and the blood on his face and realizes that he's been eating people.
Well, and then with like the octopus at the beginning of the movie, like this huge gargantuous octopus, And then like it was like the man hybrid thing. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, what other gargantuous things are there going to be, and they're going to fight? And then it was just like this other fucking weird Frankenstein thing, and I was like, what is this? Like, who the fuck thought of this? This is the weirdest shit. I don't understand. This is so fucking weird. I mean, like, it was
Yeah.
good. It kept my attention. It was entertaining. I did like some of the things, but especially hearing about the Quentin Tarantino thing, I feel like that's such bullshit because they're the monster fights, quote unquote, in this movie are not even good. Like they're cat fights. Like
Right.
they just slap each other. So to like hear
But
about
it could
Kill Bill, like what?
it could just be though that this is the movie that Tarantino as a child happened to see. Maybe he didn't see all the Godzilla movies. He maybe just saw this one, or it's the first one he saw, and it really, really stuck in his head.
Totally.
Even though, as we're going through the whole history of this stuff chronologically, this movie doesn't seem that important.
Especially, especially in 2022. I mean, looking at it, if it was 1966, then yeah, this movie may be fucking incredible. Yeah, that makes full sense.
But if you're Tarantino or Brad Pitt or Guillermo del Toro, and this just happens to be the movie that you saw before you saw any of the others, maybe it really stuck with you.
You poor little babies. But I mean, they made it. Look at them go.
Yeah. The end result was good.
Yeah.
They all ended up having careers as creative people.
Not bad. It's just fucking weird. Like I'm like.
No, I don't mean the movie. I don't mean the end result of the movie. I mean the end result of this movie inspiring those three people.
Yeah, no, I know what
good.
you mean.
The movie itself is shit. This is by no means my favorite. And like I said, I did not care for Russ Tamblyn.
Yeah.
He was phoning it in, and apparently was a real jerk on the set.
Damn.
Now I do see here, according again to the Wikipedia, Guillermo cited War of the Gargantuas and its predecessor Frankenstein Conquers the World as two of his top 5 favorite kaiju movies. Good Lord. And cited the War of the Gargantuans as an influence on the opening of his 2013 film Pacific Rim. I gotta find this. The American band Devo performed a live version of The Words Get Stuck in My Throat in 1978.
Oh my god!
I will be going to YouTube as soon as we're done here and see if I can find that. And in 2019, Michael Dougherty, director and co-writer of Godzilla King of the Monsters, expressed interest in rebooting and adapting the Gargantuas for the Monsterverse. Oof. But they didn't. I mean, Godzilla King of the Monsters was the one that had a whole bunch of kaiju in it, and we didn't see them in that. So, but we've got that Monsterverse TV show coming up, so maybe they'll show up in that. God help us. Now I was reading in that book I have, I believe was what was telling me the critical history and filmography of Toho's Godzilla series. That because of these two Frankenstein movies, that in Germany, Frankenstein seems to end up just becoming a generic term for a kaiju. So that a lot of these movies, when they got sent to Germany, the titles were changed to Frankenstein versus this and Frankenstein versus that. And they just seem, regardless of what monster was in it, they seem to use the term Frankenstein for just a generic term for a giant monster.
Wow.
So that is very weird, particularly being in Germany, because the character Frankenstein is an English book, but the character itself is German, and it is a German name. It is a real name that real people have had. Most of them changed it after that book. But there you go. It's just so weird.
How many stars?
I'm gonna give it 2.
Oh, I thought you'd say that. I'm gonna give it 3. Just because I was entertained, and I didn't hate it. It was just weird.
Are you not entertained?
Aren't you? Are you not entertained? Yeah, I thought it was entertaining. It was just fucking strange. So I didn't like hate it. I was just confused. And yeah, I mean, whatever.
I found the Frankenstein so unpleasant to look at.
Totally. I mean,
And they're both pretty ugly, but they made the green one slightly uglier because he's the bad guy.
yeah.
Because physical beauty is directly related to moral virtue. As we all know. Well, folks, I think that's going to wrap it up for today.
I love you guys. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for listening and being a part of this with us.
Yes, thank you all very much. Friends and neighbors, we have a giveaway going on at the Twitter right now. So please follow us over there and retweet the pinned tweet at funtime_go. That is our Twitter handle.
Ooh.
So please follow us on all the socials. Please leave us a review and a rating at iTunes or your podcasting platform of choice. I have been Precious D.
And I have been Honey Bee.
Remember, folks, to keep calm and seek shelter in basements.
And please, don't misuse science.
We will not see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go. You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on your podcasting platform of choice. Our theme song is by the Texicano Folk Rock Punk featuring Lita Lopez. You can support the show, find links to our social media, and even leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/MMFTG.
Fun time go!